Hey, what's up everyone? My name is Immortal HD. Recently I've noticed that a lot of people are skeptical about making good machinimas because they're afraid that their editing software will not be able to compete with new ones out now like Sony Vegas and Adobe Premiere. But I just want to say that that's not true. You can make something good with little to no effort of using editing programs. Of course, I'm not saying don't use them. Instead, I'm going to give you guys another option that you can take into consideration when working on your next video. Since we're still in the Halloween spirit, why don't we try to make something spooky, or scary, pure evil, whatever the synonym antonym of that word is, using only Forge and Theater mode. Now the first step we want to do is find a map that has little lighting in it, or creates sort of a spooky ambience. And by that I mean, don't try to pick a bright map with a sun, rather focus on things that can be a little bit eerie when watching. A good example of what I'm talking about is a map like Blackout. Blackout is set in the dark with a large moon over it. It already creates a pretty black atmosphere itself. Another good map is Longshore. Longshore is almost like an abandoned factory. You can use it for almost anything that's set after the apocalypse. Example is Zombie. I don't know what you kids are into, zombie stuff now? I don't know, whatever. But today we're going to use the map called Ghost Town. Ghost Town is my personal favorite. It looks kind of like a rundown small town that has been hit by artillery. I could be wrong, I really don't know the history of it. I guess I could read the description sometime, but I'm too goddamn lazy. Now I don't have a canvas of this map, which could be a problem. There are objects laying everywhere, and forging in it could be a little bit difficult. But we're gonna have to manage. First thing I'm going to do here is try to find a scene where I'd like to place my character and have some sort of action going on, or the main section. This looks like a pretty good spot. I'm going to delete the objects around it so I can have a nice clean slate to start off with. Now as you may notice, this particular area has a lot of sunlight going into it, so we have to avoid that. We don't want to reveal too much when taking our shots. So, because Bungie is so great, they've even given us effects to put in anything we want. The ones we're going to use today are called Juicy and Gloomy. It's a particular combination. So when we set down Gloomy, you can see that the map is black. It's pretty much black and white almost, but not exactly. It has still lighting going on in it, but a lot of it is dark. We want to kind of light it up a little bit. So our next thing is going to be called Juicy. Juicy brings out colors and gives light, which is very important for what we're trying to make. We're trying to make a horror scene. With horror scenes, you're trying to make something that's visually eye-catching. Whenever you watch a horror film, you always focus on different things that light bounces off because everything is so dark. With a Juicy effect, it gives color to appropriate things such as trees and outside lighting, which is what we really need. We don't want to reveal too much of what's going on because we always want the viewer to keep guessing what the next scene is going to be, and if it's always light, you can pretty much foreshadow anything that's going to happen. So now that we have lighting down, we're going to place some scenery. Now we don't really need it because everything here is pretty detailed. We have broken objects, we have trees coming in and out of the place, cracks in the wall. It's already a pretty detailed map. But we're going to add some of our own extra stuff such as crates and anything else that I really want to whip in here just to add some extra effect. There. Now that we have a somewhat decent looking area, I'm going to start my body acting. I'm going to have my character walk down the stretch, turn around like there's something behind him, and then jump down off that platform. It sounds pretty easy, but it's actually going to be hard trying to freak the viewer out. Because this is the Halo 3 engine and not the Blair Witch Project, we can't necessarily expect for everything we do to be scary. Our camera angle shots are going to be really close to the character. We don't want to reveal too much about the surroundings because we want to have the camera focused on our character at all times. That way whenever something happens you can't really see it, instead of showing the whole entire view where everyone knows what's going on at all times. The most generic thing you'll see me do is to have this creeping up effect behind the character. That way you know something's coming, but you don't necessarily see it. And when it finally gets to the character and he turns around, bam, nothing's there. You may have seen this done on a lot of different machinimas, and it's not the climax, but it kind of builds to it. It gives the scene its mood and creates something to look forward to afterwards. For example, I may question what just happened there, or what's going to pop out at him next. So now that we have everything recorded, we can whip it all together and see what we get. Wow, I'm just so great. That must be the greatest thing since, that one movie, was it Alien versus Predator, I think? I don't know, whatever. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. Let me know what you thought of it in the comments below and if it helped you out at all. Until next time, I'm World HD, and I'm cool. And I are now famous.
That wasn't scripted, jackass.
Yeah, I know.